Hi there. I just want to talk a little bit about the lesson plan I've created for this course called Teaching Young Adult Literature. So the purpose of this course is that the instructor is teaching students who wish to become English educators. So we're teaching them how to teach, essentially, how to teach literature, the best strategies, some activities they can use. So all of the activities outlined in this lesson plan seem a little under level for college age students. However, the purpose is that they're putting into practice what they can use in their own classrooms. So we see here that Teaching Young Adult Literature is the course. I'm the instructor, Candace Strickland. Content area is English. And the lesson title is One Pagers for the Multicultural Unit. The learning objective is that students will be able to identify and evaluate references, language use, and other multicultural aspects of YA literature, and how those components affect the meaning, message of a text by completing a one-pager that follows all requirements. And we'll get into those requirements in just a second. The anticipatory set is simply that as students enter the classroom, there'll be a gallery-style walkthrough setup of one-pager examples from previous semesters, previous courses, and also from some high school examples that I have from previous students. And then, of course, just as with anything you're going to teach students, if you can show them that you've done it yourself, it becomes even more powerful to them. So I always have an example of a one-pager that I've completed myself. So a one-pager is basically a visual representation of a text or a video clip or something like that. In this case, it would be based on a whole novel, something that they've chosen to read. The instructional strategies used for this lesson fall under the active learning category. So by creating this one-pager, students are encouraged to evaluate, synthesize, and analyze concepts within the text instead of just looking for the right answer. So a quiz, an essay, something like that might veer them more towards looking for what answer is my instructor looking for. But a one-pager really encourages them to be creative, and there are a few guidelines, but those guidelines aren't super specific. So their creativity really plays a role in this assignment. And like I said before, students are putting into practice the skills they will foster in their own students someday. So this particular activity, the active learning, utilizes active learning through summarization and note-taking. So these skills support increased comprehension by asking students to identify what's essential and then to put it in their own words. In this case, in their own words, in their own images, etc. And that's from Marzano, as well as non-linguistic representations. So we're incorporating visuals, images, etc. To reinforce concepts and vocabulary. And these are things that would be gone over with the students. So in this course, I would create these lesson plans and share them with the students. So the lesson plan isn't just for me, the lesson plan is for them to learn from and for them to be able to use one day on their own if they'd like, adapted of course, but I took a class like this in college and it was really helpful that the teacher was very transparent with how she planned things. It was probably the most helpful course that I had in undergrad in regards to actually entering a real classroom. And so this is a summative assessment. So this comes at the end of a unit. This is in replacement of an essay or some of the other summative assessments I have in this course design, like a book talk, presentations, what have you. So they'll be provided with paper, colored pencils, markers, and crayons with which they'll create this one-pager. The one-pager is meant to demonstrate their learning of a text. So they've read 3 books in this unit. House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros, The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon, and The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. These are the requirements. So this means this is what students must include, but I have left a disclaimer at the bottom that students are welcome and should be encouraged to include more than what is required, because that's the creativity element of this assignment. So if they need more than the requirements to demonstrate their learning to me, then that's what I expect them to include. And since these are college age students, a little less scaffolding is usually, I've found is usually better for encouraging that creativity. So the requirements are: sketch at least one visual symbol that represents the text's main theme, include at least 3 quotations that show the author's style, include a sketch and a sentence representing the setting, make connections between the text and current events using sketches and text, examine 1 or 2 main characters and their development, identify 3 symbols through sketches or text, include a statement about one thing you connected with in the text you have chosen, explain. So as far as differentiation goes, one-pagers kind of lend themselves to differentiation as it is. So the fact that a one-pager offers several avenues for completion, especially if you look back at the course design template, I've stated on there that one-pagers can be done through drawing, through cutouts, through textual representation, etc. You'll notice on this particular assignment I did ask for sketches, but again, the less scaffolding on a creative assignment like this for college level students, the better, I think. So students are able to demonstrate their knowledge however they feel the most comfortable in doing so, but since creativity is kind of a key component of this assignment, sometimes it's best to kind of push them outside of their comfort zone as well. I've written here that they can work alone, they can have headphones on listening to music, at a table, on the floor, surrounded by friends, however they're most comfortable, as long as they're remaining productive. And then I've also listed here that students may complete their one-pagers on paper or digitally. So I provide all the supplies for them to do it on paper. However, there may be students that have a hard time holding a colored pencil, or, you know, whatever challenges they may have. If producing something digitally is better for them, causes less stress, anxiety, etc., I'm perfectly fine with them doing that. And then in the last portion of the class, aside from putting away supplies and cleaning up their areas, they will also be required to complete a reflection. And that'll answer the questions: what was the easiest part of this assignment for you? What was the most difficult? How has this assignment deepened your understanding of the text and the author? If you could change one requirement of this assignment, what would it be? Why? That last question is so that they start thinking about what kinds of things they might require of their own students. So if they didn't like one requirement of this assignment, I want them to tell me why, and then that's something that we can bring up later in class and talk about maybe why that requirement was there, or what are some other options for replacing that requirement. Okay, so that's the lesson plan. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.